There they are. The new Richardson 112 Mossy Oak fishing pattern hat. That's a good looking hat. So I got an email from a lady in Georgia looking for someone to do an unusual job in Butler, Alabama. Her mother, who is an invalid, has bees on a wall in her bedroom, and they want me to take the bees out without moving their mom. I don't think so. And her mother's 90 years old, and they were hoping not to have to move her out of her room. I didn't know this when they contacted me, and I said, of course I can do this job. And when I got up there a day ahead of time, I went up there to the house just to take a look, and the brother says, so you're gonna be able to take these bees out without my mom getting stung? I said, what are you talking about? He said, well, her bed's right up next to the wall where the bees are. I said, she can't stay in here. I said, well, shoot, I'm up here for the night. Tomorrow morning, I'm ready to rock, and I'll be in here half a day probably. Finished the job in Meridian last night, or this morning actually. Me and Steve Butler. It's funny because Steve Butler was working with me for the past 2 days, and then today I'm in Butler, Alabama. I'm staying at the Western Inn and just checking out some of the old buildings. Some of it I've photographed before, and Butler's just a good little town to get some interesting photography. It's not a huge town, so there's not a lot here, but what's here is just country. I like that. It makes me feel my roots. I grew up in Gulfport when it was a small town, and all my family came from small town Mississippi up in Buckatuna and towns that y'all never heard of. And I don't know, small towns just feel like home to me. So I ride around, shoot stuff that I find interesting, and a lot of times it's dilapidated or vacant or something like that. But the life of the town is interesting to me, except for Hardee's and McDonald's. I don't really care about all that. Although a picture of these Hardee's and McDonald's would be interesting in 30 or 40 years. It's all a record of history, and I just love documenting stuff like this, that the moment you capture will never be seen again by anybody at any time. You're capturing a moment in time, just a split second of a moment in time that will never be seen again by anybody. You just happen to be there, and maybe it's something interesting, maybe it's not, but it's something that you documented, and it's part of you now, sort of. And that's what I do. That's what I enjoy doing, riding around anywhere. I've already been followed by the cops this evening. I had to pull over and explain myself, because like, yeah, I saw you behind so and so's building and just see what you're doing. So I explained, and he was like, yeah, okay, cool. You getting any good shots? He was fine with it. He just wanted to make sure I wasn't up to no good. Just backing into the Western Inn. I had to look at the sign. I kind of forgot the name of it for a second. Little kind of a flea bag here in Butler, Alabama, but it's priced right, $65. We're home, everybody. The bed's pre-tested. No big deal, just a little mold. Man, freaking bed's hard as a rock. I didn't sleep good, but at least I slept. So I just rolled up to this convenience store to go see what they got for breakfast. If they don't have anything, I'll run down to McDonald's. Got that bacon, egg, and cheese McGriddle. There's the entry point at the top of that window. That window is sagged, or the framing has moved. Something has settled. I don't see any settlement cracks in the brick veneer, but something on this house has settled. And the brick veneer may be much newer because I'm starting to pull the trim and stuff off the inside of the house, and it's paneling, but there's wood siding behind it. We're getting set up in this bedroom, and because of how much light's coming in that window, it might be a little difficult. Oh, wherever you want it.
I mean, I'm saying you. I didn't know when you like it or not.
I love air conditioning.
Okay.
Yeah, if you want to bring it down, I don't care.
Okay.
I don't want y'all to get uncomfortable.
Oh, we won't.
So I pulled the trim off the window, 3 sides. And I've got to pull the base. There's a joint in the base right past the joint in the paneling. There's a joint in the paneling. But there's heat in this wall, and real easy to feel. It gets cold right about here. I was pulling the corner trim out, and I noticed that there's siding or something behind this. I don't know how it's attached, but it's loose all the way down. So I may have to do some creative re-nailing when I put this stuff back together. Ooh. You want to stick your head around there and give me take a picture of it for you? I'll take a picture of it for you. Mercy, mercy. Dumping bees all over myself. Let's do a queen search real quick on the back of this paneling. I don't expect her to be here, but you just never know. Nope. You gotta get that cleaned up before it runs all in the carpet though. First thing was in the face. She flew up and landed on me, and I just let her stay there because she felt like she just was gonna land and fly away. Bing! Like, what the crap? They're pretty docile though. We got a nice, healthy little colony here. I say a little, it's decent size, and it probably goes up. I don't know, it looks like a top plate right there. I hope that's what that is. Hopefully that's the top of the hive. We'll see, we'll get cutting, get them out, see what we've got. All this trash insulation can go in the trash, and we'll repack this wall with good brand new insulation. I like to vacuum a little bit right off the bat because the reduction of numbers means a reduction in stings. And there's a good amount of bees in this window clustering up in the top. They'll be bearding in the top of that window shortly. Here's a quick pro tip for you. I have a paper backed plastic lined sheet on the floor so that it's not slippery and it won't stick to my shoes like this plastic does. This plastic hangs up on your shoes and you drag stuff around and trip. we'll put that down, and if you've got trash in the wall that's going in the garbage and you're cutting a hive that's got a lot of honey in it, pile that up at the bottom of the wall and let that catch the majority of your dripping running honey to begin with, and then drag it out of your way when it just gets too messy. But that way you've got a double layer. This has already been thrown away. It might as well be useful for something until it goes in the garbage. And then when everything's done, I'll just take this sheet, pull it back on it, roll the whole thing up, and throw it all in the garbage. Here's where we're going to run into something that needs more strategy, a little bit of thought on this one. So you got to think about, where can the bees go? On this side they can't go anywhere but outside. This side there's a whole stud cavity over here they can hide in, and since I started vacuuming, they started running, I guarantee you there's a lot of bees over in here. So what we're going to do is start removing from this side. We'll leave this side. We got brood, open brood. It's a good attractant for them. We'll let them pile up on this open brood, start cutting out the honey. This is all honey on this side. And reduce that comb for them to hang on, and reduce the ease of them to travel across this. And then when we get to the point, if I figure out there's a lot of bees back here, I can just pop off one of these boards, because they're only, oof. Now I gotta pull that back out. Yeah, all that banging interrupted them. They're running. I'm going to stop banging, start vacuuming, and let them settle down a little bit. I'm going to use your bathroom to wash my camera off.
Right here. Right here, that's it. Right here.
What you got?
That's it right there.
Okay.
No.
I got this wall packed and about to put the paneling back up, and then I'll clean up in here and be done. So we double insulated. 135 square foot was the smallest roll he could find locally. He said it was 80 bucks, 86 bucks, something like that. So what I do on these walls is double insulate. This is insulation that's built for a 3.5 inch wall, and it does affect the R value. It's R11. It does affect the R value to compress insulation negatively, but I'm not sure it negatively affects if you double layer it like this. It may still be R11 in a 3.5 inch wall, or it may be a little less, but either way it's well insulated, and the main thing for me is that it is solidly packed, not allowing the bees anywhere to gain a foothold. So all these little gaps and spaces, I just jam pieces of insulation, make sure it's in there good and tight so my paneling doesn't stick out. I'll mark my studs on the ceiling, and no stud in this corner. So really, last nail point is right here, and maybe up there. About to get it done, get out of here, clean up. I bought this DeWalt Stealth Sonic shop vac that I really am liking. It's quiet. The loudest part on it is if you use a crevice tool. Take the crevice tool off of it and it's quiet. You can talk over it. And when you're recording like this, well, anytime, you don't want a noisy vac, but when you're recording like this, if you can cut noise, it's nice. So prior to my arrival, they had sprayed insecticide all in these windows, and so everything that's got in the windows has died. I've sucked up a lot in the shop vac. They're all over the floor, dead. Did not collect anything that got in the window into the bee vac because I did not want to contaminate it. So any bee that got in the window is a goner, and so I've got a good amount in the bee vac, and I've got the queen in the bee vac. Just take a little break, drink some of my Evian because I'm sophisticated like that. So as we head back south through Butler again, headed home, I'll regale you with the time that I became familiar with Butler, Alabama, a little town that I've kind of grown to like in the past 2 decades, I guess, that I've been going up there. First time I ever went to Butler was a company hired me to go do a cause and origin investigation and an assessment for insurance purposes on a burned out oil field business, pipeline, oil field, gas station, parts supply company. So I got up there to this little bitty dying town. At that point in time, it was probably a population of about 1,200. It's about half of what it is now. A lot of these buildings that you're seeing now that are occupied were vacant and kind of falling apart. Some of them boarded up back then. Really just a dump of a community. The people were nice. It was kind of a nice place, as bad as it was in condition. But I got up there and I did my cause and origin investigation on this business. They'd had a fuel truck parked next to it, and the fuel truck caught on fire, which caught the building on fire and burned the business to the ground. And so my cause and origin investigation was really easy, really simple. The fire department had already determine what had gone wrong. There was a witness there when the fire started. They couldn't move the truck, they couldn't put it out, and so everything was it was a really easy job from that aspect. They hired a professional C&O investigator after my report and the fire department's report. Everybody came back with the same thing pretty much. So it was nothing funny, no underhandedness going on there, which is not uncommon in a failing town with people trying to keep up and just businesses die and everything else. So that's why they really dug into to see what was going on here, because the company was underinsured. They were insured for about 150,000 or 120,000, something like that. It wasn't a lot, but it was a big warehouse. Part of it was built out as office spaces, which that wasn't written into the insurance policy. It had been insured before the office space had been built out, but then the warehouse space had shelves and shelves of valves and fittings and all kind of parts, and a lot of it was just outdated. It was all brand new stuff for the most part, but it was just outdated stuff that you couldn't really get a good valuation on. You can't find it anymore. So I spent days and days combing through all this stuff, me and the property owner and a couple of other employees, sorting things into piles, and we were just filthy. Everything's burned. The whole place burned to the ground. Big metal building burned to the point that the frame warped. If you know what spalling is, the concrete slab spalted, so chunks of concrete busted up everywhere from the heat. So it was that kind of a heat in that building. Just really just destroyed everything, except for a small part of the office space was smoked up but not burned. So we're able to go through everything. We put a good contents list together. I had to rebuild the building on paper so we could get a valuation of a per square foot cost for the building to rebuild and demolition, all that kind of thing. Most interesting thing probably to me was he had a gun safe with 90 something or 100 guns in it. It cooked every gun in there. It turned any piece that wasn't metal into char, and anything that wasn't steel melted and puddled in the bottom of the gun safe. And then he had things like a Mac 10, little submachine gun, just little stuff like that obviously the insurance policy was not for that stuff. He didn't have any coverage on that stuff. I've never seen a gun safe burn up like that before, but I was made acutely aware that gun safes are no good for protecting your firearms and or anything else related. The safe had to be cut open just to inventory what was in it. But that was the time that I became acquainted with Butler. I spent days up there. They had another office location in the town, so we did some of the work over there as well, some of the paperwork. And so I've known Butler for, 20 years now, maybe. Might not have been that long, but it's been a while. And kind of grown to like the little community. And it's experienced a little resurgence in years of late. So from the time that I was there to today, it's probably doubled in size, and now has a population of around 2,500 or so. So this drive that I'm taking right here is headed south, just rural roads down till we get to an intersection with some gas stations and stuff, and then you go out to I-59, Interstate 59 down below Meridian, headed south again, or southwest. And that's the way I come out of there, but I don't know if we'll get to it in this video, but coming up is an old gas station, an old mechanic's shop and things like that, where I took some pictures on this day. But I think I'll end it here. I'll leave the drive going so y'all can just see. I know that most of you probably this is not interesting, but some people it is. We have some friends that moved here from Arizona, I don't know, 6 or 8 years ago, I guess. And I never had thought about it, but they were amazed the first time they saw fog. And I hadn't thought about, in Arizona they don't have fog, or if they do, it's really super rare. And dew, they couldn't believe when dew settled on the vehicles. That's a almost everyday occurrence for us, and fog is really not uncommon at all. So seeing just trees and not wide open expanses like you see other places, it's a unique experience for some people. Some people like to look at it. I see it all the time. It's not that interesting for me, but desert scene, I love the desert. I love watching other people's channels on the desert, even if it's not a subject I'm interested in. If they're driving through the desert, I'll watch it. So this is for the people who don't live in areas like this and enjoy seeing all the pines. These are all longleaf pines and some hardwoods. This is our area. You can cut a road through this and leave it unattended for 2 years, and you can't get down it no more. It just grows back over. The earth reclaims it. Same thing for buildings or towns around here. If you have a building that goes unoccupied and uncared for, pretty soon the roof will cave in, trees will start growing through it, and it doesn't take long for Mother Nature to reclaim anything in this area. So I'll sign out here, and thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you on the next one.
you.